Well, this month we are bringing forth the wisdom and the teachings that are found in Charles Fillmore's book, Prosperity. I brought my copy this morning, and the one I have looks like this. There's an older version of it that is a gold copy, and there's a newer version that looks even different. It's been published at least 25 times, originally written in 1936. And what it is espousing is that there is a full and complete, infinite substance that is everywhere present. We are living in and of and as it. We literally are in what we refer to as the kingdom all the time. And where is that kingdom? Within our own hearts. We don't have to go anywhere to receive it, to experience it. We have it built into us. We can be nowhere else. This substance, this love, is what we are. Many of us call it God, and we know it is good. When you read Genesis, the beginning of the Bible, and the first part of Genesis, you will see that it is mapped out, and of course this is a metaphysical interpretation of the creation. But as all of the different elements are brought forth in that narrative of the creation of life, from the firmaments, to dividing the waters, to the dry lands, to the grasses, to mankind. After every single one of those creations, what was said? God looked at it, and it was good. The last verse in the first chapter of Genesis says, "And God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good." It was very good. I want us to anchor ourselves right now in this knowing of those two critical ideas, that everything that is made is good, and that means so are we. Sometimes that's a tough one for us to accept. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the way we were raised, whatever the notions that we come up with, as children, and from who knows what good-hearted people were trying to train us, and as Don Miguel Ruiz said, domesticate us, that we come up with these ideas that we're less than, that we're not enough, that we're unworthy. Or maybe you went to one of those churches that espouse that. You're a worm in the dust, And we need to recognize that that is not the truth. That we are good. We are loved. And when you look at the Bible, to look further into the Bible and the wisdom and the knowledge of the Bible, we look at that Old Testament, and we look at the teachings of Moses. Moses came in that Old Testament, in that first half of the Bible. And Moses gave us, as I said in the thought for the week, the thou shalt nots. Because Moses was dealing with these children, literally, that were immature spiritually. And when you deal with immature spiritual children, you need to give them boundaries. You need to give them ways that they can be protected and they can understand. And that's why his laws were thou shalt nots, to help them have safe boundaries. But it also, Fillmore pointed out in his book, is that Moses could not enter the promised land. He could not do it. Because the promised land is that fourth dimension of consciousness. Third dimension is what we are now in here, right, in this physical form, right? But in the fourth dimension consciousness, you are more ethereal. It's a lighter vibration. And there is no negativity that is welcome in the fourth dimension. The fourth dimension is that of love. And what does love do? Love accepts. Love embraces. Love encourages. Love does not judge. It doesn't criticize. So that for all of us, as we are now evolving spiritually, and we now look at the teachings of Jesus in the New Testament of the Bible, Jesus' message was that of love. He came to fulfill the law, to tell us that it's for everyone. It's not just for me. And how do we see in that fourth dimension? I gave you a tiny bit of tip of it this morning as we were in our meditation. We see in that fourth dimension through our spiritual eye. Through that eye that is within us, not the eyes that we open up and see this physical world with. That fourth dimension is in the unformed, unseen realm that we need to connect with it within in that unseen place that we come from. We need to contact it. We need to get familiar with it. We need to know it. We need to embrace it. Because that is what we are. And it is this unconditional love is so wanting us to recognize itself, capital I, in us. It waits ever so patiently. For we are the ones that need to knock. We are the ones that need to seek. We are the ones that need to ask. One of the first things that we need to recognize, very, very important, that there is only one. This one substance. That is all. And we look out at this, third dimensional world, and we see all sorts of different things. I mean, a myriad of various things. And we think, oh, no, there's this thing and that thing and the other thing, and there's all sorts of multiple things. There's not just one. And that's why we have to take our discernment and know that, yes, it shows up as many things, but this one thing is one. And yes, it shows up as a lot of things. We are taking this prosperity class, some of us right now. And in it, the name of it is called Living as the Flow. And that's what prosperity is about, literally. Living as the flow in all the different realms of our experience on this earth plane. The flow being our health, our relationships, our finances, our creative endeavors. All of those aspects of this life on earth, if we are attuned to that one substance and power, it flows. Everything just flows through us. There's an opportunity in class every week to give a little demonstration, a little sharing of what came up for you this week. And I just can't wait to save mine for class, so I'm sharing mine right now. You get to hear it. It has a back story, so I'm going to give you the back story. And this is, when I was first married, 1971, my husband, when he was 15, had been a dishwasher at a convalescent hospital. Well, a 15-year-old doing dishes discovered that they have a lot of dishes here, and I could use some myself. So when I was first married, our dishes were the Corningware with the little blue rim on them. It used to be at Casablanca. But in any event, that's what we had. And I can remember thinking, I want dishes, like my own dishes, that are beautiful. And so after we'd been married, gosh, let's see, 5 years or so, we had moved away, and we were going to be moving back to San Diego, back to this area. And we wanted to buy a home. And so we started making the list. What's in the home? What do I want in the home? And the one thing I said in my home is I want my own wonderful set of dishes. So when we found the home, the day we were moving into the home, it had been occupied by a man who was 70 and his son who was 50. And they had left a couch and a couple things, you know. So, but I opened up the cupboards. There was a full entire set of Franciscanware apple pattern dishes. I mean, to the butter dish and the sugar bowl and the gravy boat, everything. And thank you, God. And I have been using those dishes ever since. That have been in 1977. I've been using those dishes. And then when the divorce came about a few years ago, of course, we had to split up the dishes, so I ended up with half of them. And then the other day I broke one of the plates. And so in my mind I was thinking, and then and the top of the sugar bowl got dropped and broken. Well, have you ever tried to replace a top of a sugar bowl of the Franciscanware? Not easy. I mean, I really didn't go on any of the websites I suppose I could have. But in my heart, I wanted some things replaced. Do you realize after the parade on the 4th of July, I stopped in at Seek and Gather. They had Franciscan apple dinnerware that they were literally giving away. In fact, I'm going to go back today to see if there's any more left. Literally, the dishes were $4. The sugar bowl was $3. And so to me, this is a demonstration of living in the flow. That you have that intention, you have that yearning, you have that desire. And what happens? That energy is flowing out from you. And the universe says, oh, I want to play. I want to see. I want to see what we can do. And so it was just amazing, because literally I was in that shop. It's a big store. And I had started at one end. I was working all my way around. It was one of the last things that I saw in the store with these dishes, and I just exclaimed. I went, oh my gosh. And that's really, to me, what the example of this life, living a prosperous life, is all about. Is recognizing that we do have everything that we have need of. All of our desires are right here. We need to open our eyes to accept them, to see them. We know that in our teaching, we demonstrate, we bring about the things in our lives through energy. And that energy is put out there through our minds, our thoughts, and through our emotions. So those two categories, our thoughts and our emotions, are what are propelling and what are driving and what are bringing to us our experiences. Now, it's going to be obvious for us here in Alpine to know that this past Friday, was a momentous day for us. There was, I was sitting at my desk in La Mesa at work, and I got a text from the sheriff department saying that your area is being evacuated for the fires that were happening. So I came home, and we gathered up some things and decided, well, do we need to do it or not, And it's interesting because there's so much smoke, you don't know. Is there like a flame right behind that? I don't know. If somebody says that I need to leave, I think I'm going to leave, And after the fact, yesterday, now I haven't confirmed this directly, but I have under the understanding that that one of our friends that we know, our Matt Kramer, his house was burned, and that we all of us that, and there were others I know, other people. I had another friend on Facebook that was saying that so and so and so and so lost their home. Someone this morning said they knew someone that lost a home. Yes, there were 18 structures totally that were lost. And what this says to me, though, is that we, as a unit here, as spiritually mature individuals, it is our job, it is our duty to send forth to those folks our energy of encompassing love, of encompassing compassion, of giving them the energy, because we are one. It didn't happen to just somebody else over there. If it happens to one person, it happens to us all. And so we need to, how am I going to respond to that? Well, how does my higher self respond? How does love respond? Love responds by embracing, by encouraging, by giving. So we all are to give of our compassion. And yes, if there's something that tells you there's something I can do, well, then of course you do it. You follow that. And in those times, it can be very challenging to hold true to this point that this too is God, this too is good. Remember? Everything was good. And just as we look at a fire, we know that when a fire happens, there's things are destroyed. Obviously, they weren't what they were before. But what happens usually in those fires, on the aftermath of it? There are little seeds that will be germinating, that will be coming forth from it. So we look at everything in life, even as devastating as it appears to be, to know that there is a process here that is happening. Maybe we can't see it with our physical eye immediately, but we can know that in the midst of this, there is good. For in the midst of this, there is God. In the Lord's Prayer, Jesus gave us the line that said, "Give us this day our daily bread." In the Aramaic version, it says, "Grant what we need each day in bread and insight." And so as we experience these things in our life of these fires and this devastation and these hurts, we recognize that we need to stay focused on now, on today, on this moment. Right now, in this moment, I can handle this. It's so we get so caught up in, oh my gosh, how horrible. When if we don't get going that direction and we stay, okay, what is it that I can do right now? What is it for me? What action do I have? What thought do I have to take that will demonstrate that there is good? How can I be a good experience right now in what's ever going on? The Prayer of Supply was written by Ernest Holmes, and I wanted to share it with you in part because it just says so much of, I feel, what we are talking about here today. I did hone it down, and I'm looking at it saying, oh, it was a little long, but in any event. It says, "I am surrounded by right action. I am successful in all my undertakings, and I am compensated for all my efforts. I am surrounded by substance, which is always taking the form of supply and always manifesting itself to me in the form of whatever my need may be at the time. Stay in the now. I always have an abundance of money and an abundance of whatever it takes to make life happy and opulent. I have an inner understanding of my place in the universe. I know that it is unique. Therefore, I do not need to imitate anyone or to long for the good that belongs to another. This self is united with all selves, but is always an individual and a unique self. I draw all toward me, and those whom I can benefit and those who can benefit me are irresistibly drawn to me. The truth makes me free from the fear of poverty and limitation. The opportunity for self-expression and compensation is always open to me, and I always accept and operate from this knowing. I have abundance because I am abundance. For all that the Father has is mine. That's the gist of it. I want to recap. How do we know we are in this opulent abundance? How do we know this? Because we, number one, accept our oneness with this rich substance. And we accept our oneness with all. Nothing and no one is excluded. It's all inclusive. Number two, we feel the power of love. It is deep within us, and when that power of love nudges us, gives us those little promptings, we follow them. Number three, we trust our divine ideas. We have faith, and we bring them to our experience through our visioning, through our speaking of our word, and through accepting right action is now taking place. These are the ways that we demonstrate that we bring into our experience these divine ideas. Number four, we live in the moment and let any thoughts of lack or limitation go. We live in this moment. It was interesting getting home, and I had talked to my daughter on the phone saying, okay, we'll grab this and this and this. And she was already gone. She was out of there. She wasn't messing around. So when I got home, I thought, oh, I forgot this, I forgot that. So I'm packing up more stuff, you know. And then it's interesting how, what's really important to me? You know, what do I really want to, quote, save or have with me? You know? Kind of embarrassing. But I took my teddy bear that I had when I was 5 years old. Because we take the things that speak to our hearts. Well, and yes, I did have my paperwork too. And my jewelry. But it was interesting walking through that house and just trying to figure out, you know, what is important? What do I really need to take with me? And I know that the people who lost everything are being bolstered up to know that they have exactly what they have need of. Item number 5. We gladly give, joyously, freely, and consistently, for we know as we give, so we receive. For life absolutely moves in a circular motion, always upward and onward. That's how we experience this kingdom, are by those 5 steps. By knowing, by sharing, that we can't outgive God. We are living in the abundance. Let it flow through us. I wanted to read to you something that Fillmore wrote. Fillmore was a scholar, a Christian scholar of the Bible and of Jesus and of the times that happened then. And he brings it into a metaphysical understanding. Let's see if I can see this. Jesus recognized the omnipresence of substance when he laid hold of it to multiply the loaves and fishes. He dealt in a consciousness of it at all times. Once he told the apostles when they asked him to eat, "I have meat to eat that ye know not of." He built this divine substance into his body, cell by cell, replacing the mortal flesh with the spiritual substance until his whole body was immortalized. He demonstrated it and told us how it was done. He said, "He that believeth on me, the works that I do shall he do also, and greater works than these shall he do." Then why are so many people poor, distressed, ill, or troubled? There is a way, a law, a wisdom to apply the law, and there is an abundance of substance waiting to be formed by each of us into whatsoever we will when we apply the law as a son of God. Jesus gave us all of the ways that we can do exactly what he did. Why are so many people distressed? Why are so many people poor? Because they are seeing with their physical eye. And they're not going into that fourth dimensional of consciousness that sees the unformed substance. Paramahansa Yogananda said that we must have courage. He said, "Do not take life's experiences too seriously. Above all, do not let them hurt you. For in reality, they are nothing but dream experiences. Play your part in life, but never forget it is only a role. If circumstances are bad and you have to bear them, do not make them a part of yourself." That's that detachment that we talk a lot about. What you lose in the world will not be a loss to your soul. So all of those people and all of those things and all those possessions that got burned up on Friday were a loss, a physical loss, not a loss to someone's soul. Trust in God and destroy fear, which paralyzes all efforts to succeed and attracts the very thing you fear. All nature will commune with you when you are in tune with God. Realization of this truth will make you master of your destiny. We are living in this sea of infinite potentiality. I want you to dive into the deep end. Trusting, knowing that you will be supported, you will be upheld, you will be uplifted. I was going through some files this morning trying to find something for my class, which I found, but in the meantime, I also found this poem that I had written. Well, it was in a file that was dated 1995, and I think it may have been pre-computer age because it looks like it was typed. It's a poem. Did I say that? It's a poem that I wrote that I didn't date it. And now I teach and preach everybody. Now, when you write something, date it. No date on it. But I think I typed it on a typewriter. I thought it would be a good way to close this morning. The title of it is Just Let It Be. There's no need to worry, no need to fret. Don't choose to lose. Stick up your chin and decide to win. There's no need to wait. You've got what it takes to make yourself great. Take the time to know the real you. That you is capitalized. Then trust and believe and let that you shine through. It's easy. That's the trick. Don't think there's something out there you got to lick. There's no need to fight, no need to fret. Just let go of regrets. Let go of all stress. Be happy and gay, and your cares fade away. Instead, you'll find peace. Instead, you'll find joy. Instead, you'll find that you're at one with all. Capitalized one and all. You're at one with love. You're at one with life. You're perfect in every way. What more can I say? Then just be the real you, and you will soon see. You'll be ever improving and evolving to be the eternal one you're meant to be.